The man's so white, he makes mayonnaise look like salsa.
Yeah.
So he went on Pod Save America, and this clip, they clipped this themselves. They knew what they had, God bless them.
Yeah.
This is Mayo Pete on the subject of Israel, sporting a beard. He's going for that Commander Riker look now.
I think he's going for the Mamdani look.
Senate
Like,
Democrats
this is in
just
now.
voted to.
This is it. I hear beards are in, so I grew one.
It's working for that guy who articulates actual policy positions. So maybe if I grow a beard, I don't have to articulate any policy positions. I'm hoping it's the beard. It's the beard.
More than half of Senate Democrats just voted to oppose the sale of over $500 million worth of U.S. bombs and guns to Israel. Would you have voted to oppose sending those weapons?
I think we need to insist that if American taxpayer funding is going to weaponry that is going to Israel, that is not going to things that shock the conscience. And look, we see images every day that shock the conscience. So much of this is complicated. But what's not complicated is that if a child is starving because of a choice made by a government, that is unconscionable. And
well, actually, none of it's complicated.
I think especially including voices who care about Israel, who believe in Israel's right to exist, who have stood with Israel in response to the unbelievable cruelty and terrorism of October 7th. I think there's a reason why so many of those voices are speaking up now, too. Because this is not just something that is on its face and in itself a moral catastrophe. It is also a catastrophe for Israel for the long run.
How do you think the next administration should handle our relationship with Israel? Do you think it?
Yeah, that's the old thing with Israel. It's complicated.
Right.
It's complicated. Yeah, he, as you would expect from a McKinsey alumni and a CIA cutout, he just hits all the buttons. He just hits all the talking points. He's on every side. Yes, I'm a moral person. But of course, October 7th, it shocked the conscience. I'm not particularly shocked by 76 years of brutality, the Nakba, occupation, refusal to honor the right of return that the UN had established going all the way back to 1948. I'm not shocked about all that.
It should change based on what Netanyahu has done the last several years?
Well, certainly Netanyahu can't be the only voice or the only compass for what should happen in the U.S.-Israel relationship. And no matter how strongly, or especially because of how strongly you might believe in Israel's right to exist and defend itself, you don't have to make excuses for the choices that Netanyahu is making, especially because they are often made not only in the name of the Israeli people, but in the name of a U.S. alliance. I think that we, as Israel's strongest ally and friend, you put your arm around your friend when there's something like this going on and talk about what we're prepared to do together.
That is the most infuriating part of this, is the whole analogy, you put your arm around your friend. I don't know about you. My friends don't starve tens of thousands of kids. I mean, maybe your friends do. Mine don't. I remember when Kucinich was on Jimmy's show, when you were sitting there, he said something. Yeah, Israel is our friend, but they're not. No, they're not our friend. They're not my friend.
Right.
They're not my friend. You don't speak for me. How could you call them a friend at this point, unless you are a completely soulless maniac, which he is? And to the point, this looks like AI. He should just claim this is AI. It kind of looks like an AI video because of the lighting and the way the light hits his face. He should just, if he's smart, he should claim he never appeared on Pod Save America, and how dare they use this AI rendering as a pass off for an actual interview.
Well, if you remember, I can't remember what it was. It was what, did we lose a bet with the audience or something, and we had to watch that Buttigieg documentary?
Oh no, we used it as a fundraising ploy. We said,
we hit the number. Yeah. Wasn't that we lost a bet? It seems like something you do if you lost a bet. But we promised a segment on the Buttigieg documentary, and very often it's the side stuff that tells you everything. That clip with him and Chasten, where Chasten is kind of trying to get his attention. They're eating at like a diner or something.
Yeah.
And he's just eating in the creepiest, weirdest most sociopathic way. And you just feel really bad for Chasten because you could see this relationship is very subtextually abusive in ways that would be crazy making because you couldn't quite put your finger on what it was.
Right.
Because what it is your boyfriend has no soul.
Right.
That's what it is. And it's very hard to nail that down. Like what that is, that this guy is just a cipher. There's just nothing there. As far as the Israel as a friend, and that's what you see, and this is part of what's so creepy about Buttigieg. It's like you programmed into an algorithm what are the talking points you're supposed to have on this subject that make liberals feel like they're on the moral side by siding with you without actually threatening any entrenched interests or pissing off any of the money people that pay me to act as an avatar for their interests. And that's all he ever does. That's all. It's very Obama-esque. It's not an accident that he looks to Obama as kind of a model for how to present himself. He does it very badly. He can't pull it off, but it's very Obama-esque. He tries to find every side of every issue without actually saying anything about it.
Right.
Something like this going on and talk about what we're prepared to do together. And it certainly cannot be what we see right now from this administration and this president talking about beachfront property in Gaza before he's prepared to talk about human suffering in Gaza.
Do you think it's time to recognize a Palestinian state?
I think that's a profound question that arouses a lot of the biggest problems that have happened with Israel's survival, Israel's right to survival in the diplomatic scene. And many of the people who have taken that step historically have done so for different reasons than what we see happening with European countries.
It's a complicated issue.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said a lot of different things about that. Yeah, it's like Obama if you just stripped all the soul out of the man.
Yeah.
It's just, look, say what you will about him. He could sell a line like that and make people come away feeling like he said something.
Of course.
Buttigieg cannot. It's like ridiculous. He's virtually saying there is land in the Middle East and people disagree about it.
Right. Right. Well, and if you notice a minute earlier, he tried to blame this all on this administration, as if you were not part of the administration prior, which let this happen for over a year. You could have nipped this in the bud. This is Trump's genocide now. I agree with that. I mean, he oversees it now. He funds it. He champions it
now.
He owns it. I'm not saying he don't own it, but I'm saying that you could have nipped this in the bud before it got into his hands.
Yes.
I think we need to step back and we need to do whatever it takes to ensure that there is a real two-state solution and that no one, not even the likes of Netanyahu, can veto the international community's commitment to a two-state solution where you have Palestinians and Israelis living with safety, with security, with rights. I believe that can happen, but we have to actually show some commitment to it.
Yeah, actually, history shows us that absolutely cannot happen unless you dismantle the apartheid state of Israel. As long as Israel is premised on the idea of, let's face it, biblical rights to that land and the need to preserve it as a Jewish ethno-state, whatever Jewish ethnicity means, clearly that's the vision. As long as you have that, they're always going to be a threat to the Palestinians. Because when you are driven with that kind of messianic idea of your rights, well, nobody has rights that supersede those rights. You're seeing how they're normalizing the idea that the West Bank actually belongs to them. To get around the question of the illegal settlement, Judea and Samaria, they're all on the same talking point now. And I've talked to Zionists. They're on the same page. I've asked, like, what about the West Bank? You can't steal land that belongs to you.
Right. So So if that's their understanding of things, then what state are you talking about?
What state are you talking about? Yeah, like the idea that you have to inherently accept the Israeli formulation that the Palestinians are the obstacle to the two states and not the existence of Israel itself.
Right. Now, I think it's important to add in a conversation like this, that's not to say that countries should not recognize a Palestinian state.
Sure.
That is a very important step
Right.
to a permanent solution, because you have to enshrine them with a state in order to give them the kind of negotiating power that they need. Right.
Sure.
So I'm not saying this is not to poo-poo the countries who recognize statehood.
No.
Right. But when you take a big picture view of things, you cannot trust the Israelis to implement and abide by a two-state solution. They have proven they are not willing or able to do any such thing.
Netanyahu has said repeatedly that he doesn't support the idea of a two-state solution. Yeah, that is one more example of Buttigieg. It's really, at this point, AI is pretty much sophisticated enough that if you just put in these talking points and told it to go do an interview about Israel, you could get an AI to approximate this, because that's all this is.
Right.
Up until Trump, everyone said they supported the two-state solution, Republicans included. It's the easy way out of the question. It's the easy way not to really take a position on it. Of course. On the one, I'm for everybody. I want to see everybody live there in peace. Even though, look, most of these people are not so stupid that they don't understand what we just said, that Israel is never going to allow a state to be there.
Right.
So this got pretty ratioed. 1.1 thousand likes, 1.4 thousand comments. Now remember, this I took this off Pod Save America's own feed. So they mostly got libs responding. And I got to say, this was not selective. This is very typical of the response. It was almost overwhelmingly negative. And you could tell from the way they framed it that they're mostly Democrat libs. He just lost my vote. There you go. He had this person's vote in the first place. It's Ryan Grimaldi, Danny B. Disqualifies him to run for POTUS, in my humble opinion, and millions others. We're at the point that if they don't have the courage to say the truth and what needs to be said, they are compromised. And y'all didn't push back either, just letting the propaganda flow free. Clearly, these are Democrats, the way that they're framed. The idea that Pete Buttigieg is someone you would vote for under any circumstances. BIPOC Chopra. Public opinion on Israel is tanking. People like Buttigieg are desperately searching for a message that works for both regular people and wealthy Zionists. Sadly, that's impossible. You can't acknowledge the horror of genocide and then turn around and call the culprits your friends. Yes, and that's exactly what he's trying to do. That was a great summary of that entire interview. And of course, you know, when you scratch some kind of word salad gobbledygook about Israel, you're likely to find AIPAC money bleeding. 191,215. Now, that might seem low, but they don't give you money when you're the transportation secretary. He was in office very short amount of time. If he had stayed in office all this time, those numbers would be a lot higher, right? So he was just the freaking mayor of South Bend, this guy.
Well, it's amazing how many people think he's like a viable national candidate when he clearly is not, for reasons we're going to find out.
He was the mayor of South Bend.
Well, he has zero black support. You cannot win a Democratic primary with zero black support, period.
Yeah. Well, that tells you everything you need to know about the Democratic Party. So this also from AIPAC Tracker. Good on them for pointing this out. It's not just Netanyahu. And this quoting from an article, poll after poll shows the most extreme and genocidal policies of the Netanyahu government are not only popular in Israel, but in key ways to the left of Israeli society. We've seen again and again in polling, you have 82% of Israelis want Gaza ethnically cleansed. So no, and very often Netanyahu is trying to negotiate a position that's to the left of his party. That guy does not even represent the far extreme right wing of Israelis. There is no such thing, as Ilan Pappé said, as a liberal Israeli. The project is inherently illiberal. You cannot be a liberal who believes in Zionism. Those two things, it's like saying you're a liberal Nazi. You can't be a liberal Nazi. You have to either abandon the premise of this project, or you have to take up a shade of right-wing positioning on it. It's just a question of how far you want to go in supporting apartheid. Are you willing to support it at the cost of genocide? For the majority of Israelis thus far, the answer is yes. The answer is yes. So, no, it's not about Netanyahu. You cannot keep saying this is the only democracy in the Middle East and then write off Netanyahu as an aberration. He's been in Israeli politics for over 20 years. So if it's a democracy, clearly he represents a good portion of the Israeli public, the majority of the Israeli public. Now, there has been some polling that shows Buttigieg in the lead, a fair amount. This one is specifically without Harris in the race. And in this, with this data for progress, he came in the lead 17%. After that's Cory Booker. This was done in April. I suspect that's because we were still in close proximity to his stunt, his filibuster stunt. And Ocasio-Cortez also coming in at 14, then Gavin Newsom at 10, and it drops off pretty sharply from there. This one includes Harris. This is more recent. This is June. And yeah, he's got the lead in that one, 16. Harris at 13, Newsom at 12, Ocasio-Cortez all the way down at 7. There's been a more recent poll from a company, I believe the name of the company is Echelon, never heard of them, where she does have a lead, 26%, and then Buttigieg is tied for second. But clearly he's in contention. Now, polls this far out are more of a test of who people have heard of than it's a test of anything else, so I wouldn't make very much out of it. But the fact that people could watch that bloodless freak and even consider voting to make him the president or think running him would be a good idea, like Vance wouldn't go through him like a knife through butter, it tells you that the core Democratic Party has not learned very much from the experience of Donald Trump.
Also, one thing. Oh, sorry to break your flow, but one thing about these polls too, they have to take with a grain of salt is he's leading at 17%. As the primary calendar goes on, you're not going to be running against 12 other people anymore, where you can win with 17%. Right. It's going to narrow down to 2 or 3 at max 4 people. At which point, the guy with no black support cannot win. Cannot win, no matter what. Yeah.
So this is an actual Democrat account to give you an idea of the brilliant minds that make up the base of the modern Democratic Party. Does anyone want chips? It's a fairly large account, not huge. I don't know how you feel, but I think Pete Buttigieg, the brilliant, articulate Navy vet who never loses his cool, would be unstoppable in 2028.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then a few responses to this. Lerner Chris, yes. Beto is also moving back up the ladder. Ossoff is also looking good. Add Kamala and Newsom. A lot of white boys in there for this explicitly anti-racist party.
Yeah.
And we should have a great primary season. Message and organization will be the key. Everyone has already started. Debs for Dems. I think he's brilliant and would be a remarkable POTUS. The right can somehow accept Scott Bessent, but Pete's too gay. I wonder if the moderates and independents can be swayed. I want to believe his intelligence will overcome any bias. I hope so. He's what we deserve.
Who says he's too gay? I haven't heard that. People say that.
I mean, well, it's been a long thing. They want to say, speaking of the black support, that they don't like him because he's gay.
Right.
They want to say that. D.D. Watson. He's way too liberal. We need a more centrist Democrat. for 2028. So these are the dregs of the liberal class that still proudly identify as Democratic voters. So I hope you like J.D. Vance, because I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of them.
Please clap.